I'm just trying to decide if I'm comfortable even talking about that.
This One's Wife, American Riviera Orchard, is not working. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I don't suppose it really comes as a surprise to you to find that American Riviera Orchard retirement homes isn't working when the person that has created it is notoriously lazy. It isn't working because so far you can't actually purchase anything from it. It was launched a number of weeks ago with the ridiculous Instagram post containing reference to a website which would only allow you to insert your email address. You couldn't buy anything, you couldn't see anything by way of its offering, and you were just treated to a pretentious video that showed this one's wife arsing around in the kitchen and then doing her best to appear like an audition for a gothic horror. Thereafter, certain individuals found out as a consequence of the patent application what it was that she was intending to sell, and it was hardly inspiring. Then came the magnificent jam scam, which resulted in peals of ridicule coming this one's wife's way as she embarked on sending jam to a select few. A jam jar surrounded by lemons in a bowl with wilting elderflowers. Whilst it garnered huge amounts of publicity, it wasn't particularly constructive or supportive, with many people mocking what she was doing. And, as far as I can recall, only 11 or 12 of the 50 who received this lemon-strawberry bundle have taken to social media to admit to the shame of being a recipient. This does call into question, did she ever send 50 out? It wouldn't be a surprise if this one's wife could only be asked to rustle up 11 or 12 people to promote her offering, but made it seem like it was sent to 50. That wouldn't be a surprise. Another typical grifting move of hers. Or, if she did send it to 50 people, where are the other 38 or 39? Did it get lost in the post? Were they stopped at the gates? Or simply those people thought, you can get lost if you think that I'm going to promote this crap. Goodness me, I'm not descending to that level. Either way, it's another failure. Not only was the Scam Jam rollout rubbish in itself, but the lack of take-up by those that have received it demonstrates once again how this one's wife is regarded. There was a delicious coup de grace administered by Gwyneth Paltrow, who demonstrated with oodles of style her affirmation of the superiority of Goop with her evening soiree, whereby she invited a number of those that this one's wife affiliates with. It was a useful flipping the bird to this one's wife to say, stay in your lane, this is my game, you're not welcome. It was stylish, it was slick, and of course it took the piss out of this one's wife by reference to American Riviera and lemon trees in the blurb that was released through Vogue. Notwithstanding all of this, and the fact that American Riviera Orchard retirement homes has been going nowhere, this one's wife could at least take some degree of comfort in the fact that she was going to go to Nigeria and undoubtedly be welcomed by hordes of good Nigerian people who were going to welcome her because she was 43% Nigerian. Not the case that it would just be dignitaries that would be dealing with her or flown-in members of the Sussex Squad. No, Nigerians in their millions would descend upon wherever she was to go, all hail the living saint. And undoubtedly, they would all be signing up to American Riviera Orchard, following her on Instagram, and giving those follower numbers a real good shot in the arm. As mentioned, there was around about 612,000 followers after the initial launch, which, for someone as internationally infamous as this one's wife, is fairly piss poor. Given that she has had global coverage to billions of people, to have only got 612,000 or thereabouts followers should be regarded as a weak response. Furthermore, analysis of those and the followers that they had suggested that in actual fact, many of those followers were actually bought, and that was done just to swell the numbers to try and increase the popularity, a desperate attempt to deflect from the failure of people to take an interest in it. Now, interestingly, having attended upon Nigeria, where she believes that she's worshipped, which is a country of some 218 million people, one would have anticipated that American Riviera Orchard's Instagram following would have been given a huge shot in the arm. After all, Little Miss Popular is in town, or in the country. She's 43% Nigerian. Surely, all of these Nigerians who have welcomed her to her motherland, who can be seen in her eyes, all of the children that she sees herself in, the connections that she has, the fact that she's been made an honorary princess, etc., surely they would all be flocking to follow in anticipation of being able to purchase some American Riviera Orchard Retirement Homes merchandise. Well, the numbers swelled by about 13,000. 218 million people, supposedly hugely popular, supposedly returning to the motherland, and it swells by just 13,000. But it gets worse. Those that have been keeping an eye on things, and I noticed that there was a remark from somebody on the subreddit thread, or rather the Reddit subthread, saying this one's wife, noted that it's remained stuck at around 617,000 followers for 17 days. Oh dear. She gets a little bit of a bump from Nigeria, but notwithstanding that, people around the world really aren't interested. They have no interest, or very little interest, in this launch. Gwyneth Paltrow, Martha Stewart, there are plenty of people that are talented, that made the crossover perhaps from another discipline into merching through creation of a lifestyle brand, and people buy into that for reasons that I've explained previously, linked to talent, likability, etc. But not this one's wife. Once again, she's messed up. This, of course, will infuriate her. She believes that she's massively popular. She will not be able to process why it isn't taking off to the extent that it should be. She will look at the success of people like Paltrow, Martha Stewart, etc., and she believes that she is entitled to the same level of success, and that it should just come overnight by virtue of the fact that it's simply her. This is why she keeps failing. She keeps failing because 1, she's no talent, 2, she's no charisma, 3, she's unlikable, but 4, she doesn't put the effort in. She doesn't understand that every overnight success has been 5 or 10 years in the making. That person has plugged away building a following, and then either, as a consequence of steady growth, suddenly comes to prominence, or they're noticed by a bigger outfit that puts their muscle behind them and they explode onto the scene. But they've not just been created overnight. There's comedians that have spent years being heckled in shitty working men's clubs, plying their trade until they got spotted, or that they built up a suitable following online so that eventually the dots were connected and more people thought, hey, this is really good. The author that has been rejected time and time again, like J.K. Rowling, eventually found massive success. The pop stars, the rock stars that were rejected, that went on talent shows and got nowhere, but kept doing the gigs and building up a dedicated following until they experienced that hockey stick moment and things took off. The individual that was selling cupcakes, that was just eking along, skirting on the edge of bankruptcy. and then as a consequence of the excellence of their product, happened to be featured on a baking program. And with that exposure, things took off. The talented individual that has set up a small business going on Dragon's Den or Shark Tank gets an injection of expertise and money so they can take off. All of these individuals didn't just appear overnight. They appeared as a consequence of years of sustained slog, marrying talent with vision and industry. And as a consequence of sticking at it or coming to the attention of a bigger outfit, they then gained greater prominence and met with success. This one's wife simply doesn't grasp that. She thinks that because she's this one's wife and she's known around the world, that equates to lots of people wanting to buy her products, and therefore she just basically has to say to everybody, I've got something called American Riviera Orchard. It's coming soon. You'll all be able to buy that stuff. Away you go. There was no CEO. There were no products. But she treats people like idiots, thinking that that is going to be enough for them to go, hey, do you know what? I absolutely want to buy your products. I'm in. Where do I sign up? She fails to recognise her unlikability, and she fails to recognise the industry that has to go into these matters. And what's the result? American Riviera Orchard simply isn't working. It's being shown with regard to the level of ridicule that she's experienced for this lifestyle brand, but also it's translating into hard fails on the numbers. The numbers don't lie. The take-up isn't there. Once again, this one's wife has fucked up. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.